This video is for polyester plate lithography class. We will be running through the absolute basics over the next 5 minutes. Consider this a resource to use at home before class, to watch once or twice, to kind of get a grasp of the process you will be going through, and also help you start thinking about ideas that you can bring to the printmaking studio. So when you're watching this, think about drawings that you could apply to a printmaking plate or ideas that you might have of what to print. So I hope you enjoy, and of course, email me with any questions. As you can see, I have some examples of my own work and student work with polyester plate lithography. Easy to print on found paper, printmaking paper, any kind of old office paper you can find. You can also see we have some chincolle, which is a collage process. Lots of opportunities to print all kinds of drawings in large editions. Right, we will start with our polyester plate. This is the vehicle that we will be printing from. So we have our plate, we have our gloves, keep the plate nice and clean. We have our permanent markers. So they are permanent. They are not any kind of magic markers or anything like a crayon that could wipe off of this plate. We're going to write and draw on this plate, and it will stick. Notice how I have also written backwards on the plate, because of course this will print the other way, so you will be able to read this correctly. It's going to make some quick little drawings. Try a Sharpie and an old marker, and we'll ink it up, see how it looks. Next up to the inking station, we have barrier cream, which we will apply to our hands. This will make it much easier to wash ink off of our hands. We have our ink knife, we have our canister of ink, and we have our brayer or roller. Notice how the roller is upside down. It always lives upside down. We'll never leave the roller sitting on the roller. Take out a little ink, stretch it out a little bit, make sure it's nice and stiff. Take our roller, just a little bit, move it out. We're gonna just keep rolling a bit. Make sure that we hear a nice hiss with the ink, kind of a hiss, every time we take the roller over. If you do not hear that, it means you do not have enough ink laid out. If you have too much ink, what you'll notice is then it starts to get really bumpy, maybe even fly around a little bit. I think we're about ready for the next step. All right, next up, we have materials for inking the plate. We have our distilled water. It's gonna be a nice, soft water, a little bit of gum arabic. And we're just gonna take the sponge and we're going to put a nice layer of water over the entire plate. And what's going to happen is the water is going to actually repel any ink that I apply to this in the white spots, but it's going to hold on to the ink on top of the Sharpie. So water is your best friend in this process. So I rolled ink with the inked up roller over the plate, over the wet plate, and then I put water over the plate again, and then I rolled again, and then I'll put water over the plate again and roll again. What is happening is the water is repelling the ink on the white spots, and it is allowing the ink to stick elsewhere. You can see with a little bit of toothpaste, I cleaned up a little blemish and a Q-tip, and then I'm popping up the plate because I think this plate is about ready to go to the press for a proof. Might be a little light, but that's okay. We're gonna build it up. Next up, we're going to the press. We have our poly plate inked. Ink is sitting on top of all the places where a Sharpie touched the plate. Ink is not on the places where the Sharpie did not touch the plate. So we should have an okay print coming out. So I place the soaked printmaking paper, and then an old plate, send it through the press one way, send it through the press the other way. Polyplates love pressure. I'm going to slowly peel this print off really slowly. If the paper has been soaked too long, especially if you're using maybe to some older paper that you're not sure if it's printmaking paper or not. Sometimes they tend to tear, but this looks okay. As you can see, we have two different prints from this plate. The print on the left is the first print, and I noticed that it is looking a little light. In the middle it looked okay. Ink seemed to stick to the Sharpie. So I went back and I inked it up about 3 more times, and I did all the steps again, sent it through the press again, and the polyester plate proof number 2 turned out much better, quite nice and dark. I think that if we did a third, maybe darken it up just a little bit more, we could move on to an edition.